Hey there, I'm Kevin Downey, and I run an agency called Kevin M. Downey, where we help B2B companies with their sales and marketing efforts. You can visit our website at kevinmdowney.com. Okay, today's video, I want to talk about how you set up an effective outreach process for your sales and business development representatives in 2024. So, in a lot of cases, this answer seems really simple. You have them pick up the phone, you have them go door to door, or you use email, right? But it isn't always that simple. And what I want to do is dig into the different, and it ties into sales team structure. So, what I want to dig into in this video is how your prospect list size and your sales team structure really dictates, or is the starting of how you dictate your outreach process. Who does it, how, all those kinds of things. So, let's go through this step by step. So, when I work with, or we work with at my agency, a client, B2B, and they may be an email client already. We may be doing recruiting for them, but we really dig in and we start to talk about their structure as a business, right? And what they think of when they think of their sales process, business development to sales process, who should be doing it, who does what, who they have currently. And so I usually start from scratch and I say, okay, first question I have is, who's your target customer? What's your prospect list look like? So a lot of times we'll dig right into my Apollo account and we'll start building their prospect list. And I'll take a look and we're going to want to see what kind of volume of prospects are we looking at here, right? So that's the first question that we want to answer. And we're going to come back to that. And the second question I want to answer is, does your sales team, whether it's just micro businesses and startups, it's sometimes the principals, but in the grand scheme of things, does your sales team have a relationship, an ongoing relationship with the customer? Right? So we think of traditional titles in sales that have built a book of customers or a book of business as account executives or account managers. And when you have that kind of relationship, that's one type of sales structure. And then you have what we call internally as a hunter sales model, which many companies call it different things, is when you are in sales, you're handling scheduled appointments, or you may be doing some prospecting, but you're doing a sale and then you're handing off that customer to someone who is dealing with the deliverable, and you do not have an ongoing relationship with that customer. So you're not building a book of business. So you have to think about those two things. Again, prospect list size and then sales relationship with customer. Okay, so you have to answer those two questions. Now, once we have that information, right, I want to look at prospect list size. And the first thing I'm going to say to any business is that automated email should almost always be used, right? It needs to be utilized. If your prospect list size is big enough, I want very high volume, powerful email touching or reaching out to prospects once a month with a single email, no sequences, no steps. You can go through email strategy and what we do as an agency for clients in another video. But I want a one-to-one text-based email simply trying to drive an inbound lead. If we have a big enough prospect list, I want pure high-volume email to drive inbound leads to sales or a BDR SDR team. Okay, so we'll come back to which of those is more appropriate. If we are dealing with a very small prospect list, or a prospect list that per rep, let's say you have territorial sales reps, is very small, it's in the hundreds, maybe 1,000 or so, then automated email becomes much less important. And we start talking about outbound cold calling in a traditional sense, or manualized outreach from a rep or reps to your prospect list to drive leads and ultimately appointments for sales. Now, salespeople might do it themselves in some cases, and we can come back to that, or it might be a BDR SDR team. So which is more appropriate? So let's go back to the outbound with email to inbound, and who handles that inbound for the leads coming in, right? So this goes to sales team structure. If you have a hunter sales model, and you're hiring reps or account executives, sales representatives in the United States, we're dealing with relatively high salaries. I do not want those sales reps wasting time, generally speaking, dealing with leads and then having to follow up on leads to drive them scheduled appointments. I want those reps scheduled with appointments all day, every day. So I want the outbound to be email, drive an inbound lead, SDR, BDR team, handling those leads, following up with those leads, and then moving a scheduled call to sales. And that's in a hunter sales model. When we're dealing with account executives, account managers, and we're focused on outbound email, I then, because they're the ones that are going to have the relationship with the customer, I want them to handle the inbound leads as a general rule. It's not always the case, but generally I do. So then I want outbound email drive inbound leads for sales team, and those sales, that again, those account executives, account managers are dealing with their own inbound leads because they're going to have an ongoing relationship with them. They're going to deal with those leads, right? And connect with them, follow up, and do everything they have to do like a BDR, SDR team might, and acquire them as a customer, right? Do what they have to do in the sales process, okay? Now, when we get into lower volumes of prospect list size, this changes a little bit, right? So we're now not focused as much on the outbound email. I always want outbound automated email to be running, but I generally only want to see one email per prospect per month. So when we start to get into really smaller prospect list sizes, if we are dealing with a hunter sales model in that case, I certainly do not want hunter sales reps in the United States doing cold calling or cold outreach or that kind of thing. It's a waste of money. There's no ROI there. I want them fully scheduled with appointments every day, all day. That's it. Your outreach then has to be a combination of manual outreach with BDR, SDR team, and then light automated email to help supplement them to do that outreach to help them drive some inbound leads. But again, BDR, SDR team, generally speaking, to schedule calls or appointments for sales, right? Again, and that's a hunter sales model. Now, the trickiest one is always getting into where we have relatively small prospect list sizes and we have an account executive, account manager sales model. So your sales reps are going to have a relationship with those customers for an ongoing basis. They're cross-selling. When we say account executive, account manager, I want to go back and make sure you understand they have a cross-sell, upsell. They're continually dealing with those customers to take reorders, to fill in missing inventory, whatever, right? They just have an ongoing relationship with that customer base. They're building a book of customers, maybe 200, 250, 300. Average customer is $5,000, $10,000 a year, whatever, that kind of thing, right? Do I want those representatives doing their own prospecting? That's a hard question to answer. Generally speaking, what I want to say there is if their prospect list size per account manager, account executive is very small, hundreds, maybe 1,000 or so, then them doing their own prospecting is okay because they have to build their own book. They have to do their own outreach. You're investing in them to go out and build their own customer base, right? If the prospect list size, though, is big enough per representative or just in total that it's not something where they can get to everyone with at least a potential contact once a month, I would say. So let's say you could do, if you start from scratch as an account executive, account manager, and you're dealing with 1,000 prospects, that's 50 a day, 20 days, you're at 1,000, right? So about 1,000, give or take. I don't mind the account executives, account managers doing their own outreach there, right? But when we get into numbers bigger than that, we get into thousands, 10,000 plus. Again, I want automated email still running, but I want to make sure that I'm now utilizing a BDR, SDR team to help do outreach, find decision makers, qualify decision makers, and drive leads and schedule appointments for my account executives, account managers, because I don't want them spending time for months and months and months, 6 months to a year, just prospecting, right? That's not something we want. It's very hard to get ROI out of that. I want cold outreach to be done by a BDR, SDR team that's a lot less expensive to go out, find decision makers, qualify leads, and move them to, again, scheduled appointments or whatever the case is with your account executive, account manager team. So taking it all in, right, you have those different dynamics in different situations. Think about it this way. What's your prospect list size? What's your relationship between sales and customer base? Is it ongoing? Are they cross-selling, upselling, dealing with that customer with fill-in inventory all of the time, taking reorders? Or are they doing a sale, right, and then they're handing it off to deliverable, to implementation, whatever the case is, and they really have no relationship with that customer on an ongoing basis? They may touch base with them once in a blue moon, but it's not a monthly or quarterly contact or more that's more of a hunter sales model, right? So you have to think about that kind of relationship. And those two things are what dictate your business development process, your outreach process, who you put on your sales team, how you build that structure, and ultimately how you get the greatest ROI and performance out of your sales team as a whole, combined with your marketing efforts, your outbound marketing efforts with email, and then, of course, any other marketing or advertising you're doing. Okay? Hopefully, this helps you. Really appreciate you being here today, and I've got more stuff for you. Thanks so much for being here. We'll talk soon. Thanks.